Alrighty, everybody, welcome back. Let's continue our reading of the Tafseer. This one, we are in Surah Al-Baqarah, page 67. We were digging in on verses 30 through 34. Okay, they said, "Glory be to you. That is, it is not appropriate on our part to raise any objection to you or to go against your command." Okay, it's not appropriate. Okay, so it's not appropriate for the angels to raise objections. Oh, yes, okay. We do not know anything whatsoever except what you have taught us by your grace and kindness. But what's cool about he's like, whatsoever, like, so concise of a word, you know what I mean? Verily, you are the all-knowing most wise. You encompass all things with your knowledge, so nothing is hidden from you, even so much as a small ant or anything greater than that, on earth or in heaven. The mustard seed example, right? The most wise is the one to whom belongs perfect wisdom, from which no creature is excluded. Nothing of what he commands is beyond his wisdom. He has not created anything except for a reason. Okay, so everything was created with a reason then. And he has not commanded anything except for reason. Has not commanded anything except for reason. Wisdom means putting things in the appropriate place. That's a nice definition of wisdom. So the angels recognized the wisdom and knowledge of Allah and acknowledged their own inability to know the slightest thing. They also acknowledged Allah's grace towards them and His teaching them that which they did not know. Okay, so if an angel can be taught, human can as well. Then Allah said, "O Adam, tell them the names of these things." That is, the names of the things that Allah had shown to the angels, but they were unable to name them. That's really an interesting example. When He had told them their names, it became clear to the angels that Adam was superior to them, and they clearly saw the wisdom and knowledge of the Creator in creating these successive generations. Now, what's interesting is the superiority part, because in my mind an angel is superior to a human, and when humans think they're superior to angels, I think like, wow, that's arrogance. But I would love to know what you think, and if you can expand upon it to me as well. Allah said, "Did I not tell you that I know what is unseen in heaven and on earth?" This refers to what is hidden from us. I think Immanuel Kant said the nominal world. So I think if you wanted to take their angle, you could say the nominal world, right? So we do not see it. If He knows what is hidden or unseen, it is more appropriate that He knows what is visible. And I know what you disclose, that is, show openly, and what you conceal. Then Allah, glory be to Him, commanded them to prostrate to Adam, as a sign of honor and respect to Him, and as an act of obedience and worship to Allah, glory be to Him. So they obeyed the command of Allah, and they all hastened to prostrate, except Iblis. He refused to prostrate. He was too arrogant to obey the command of Allah, and he looked down on Adam and said, "Should I prostrate before one whom you have created from clay?" Al-Isra 1761. And I remember when so many of you pointed out, like, Iblis was like the first racist, and I thought, you know what? That is a very perfect way to put it, right? And then someone further would go say a speciesist, and then you could go ad nauseum down the thesaurus of isms, right? This refusal and arrogance on his part stemmed from the disbelief that was a fundamental component of his character. Yes, a fundamental component, right? So we look for that component within ourselves and others to make sure we're not doing that. And arrogance is definitely something that is a trait that has to constantly be worked on. I have to do it as well. At that point, his enmity towards Allah and towards Adam, as well as his disbelief and arrogance, became clear. We learn several things from these verses which confirm that Allah, glory be to Him, spoke, and that He still speaks. He says whatever He wills, and He speaks as He wills. and He is all-knowing, most wise. We also learn that if the wisdom behind some of the things that Allah creates and some of the things that He commands is hidden to us, what we must do is surrender to Him. Okay, so we know this, right? So this is something that I think even me as a novice can remember, right? So we're going to underline that. Assume that it is our reasoning that is flawed and affirm the wisdom of Allah. Aha, so this is the interesting caveat here. He's contending, we assume that our reasoning is wrong, and what secularists do is they assume God is wrong, and then they work from there, right? They're both the opposites of each other, that way of thinking, right? Like this is a verse, and then they do the inverse. Benefits of understanding both sides, but picking one which you feel is more divinely inspired. In these verses we also see how Allah cared about the angels and showed kindness to them by teaching them that which they did not know. Hey, that's true. Because he could have been like, if you had like let's take a cartoonist example, right? Best way I can think in my brain. Like you would like a caricature of what an atheist thinks about God would be, oh, he would simply insult the angels to exalt his power like Zeus or something, and then smash down the angels. You know what I mean? Degrade them. Kind of like some bossy CEO. That is like how a caricature would have used this example. But look how in the Tafseer it's a more beautiful example of, no, God was merciful, humble, and, being the most wise, teaching, even to something, that could have been overlooked or used to a different advantage. He chose the moment to teach. We also see how Allah cared about the angels and showed kindness to them by teaching them that which they did not know and pointing out to them that of which they were not aware. These verses also teach us the virtue of knowledge from several angels. For example, Allah highlighted His knowledge and wisdom to His angels, and He heightened to them the superiority of Adam, which was based on his knowledge. Yeah, that's a good point. Knowledge is the best characteristic that a person may have. Oh, hey, cool, right? And Allah commanded the angels to prostrate to Adam as an honor to him when his superiority as knowledge became clear to them. Knowledge of the earth world, maybe, right? Because the angels, they don't live in the earth world, right? Like jinns and humans, right? They can contend in this sphere, but they live in angels, right? They're all in the domain of like the highest heaven, right? So their understanding of this world would be different, but one can contend that we would assume that they would know both. Like I would assume they knew both. Like I don't know why, but just in my head when someone says an angel, I think of something like a being that knows more than just its dimension, but can travel within any realm to the degree that it desires, as long as it behaves correctly. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Interesting. What a great way this is framed for me to understand. It's very approachable. From this passage, we also learn that it is important to test others by asking them questions first, before giving the answers. Oh, this sounds like something my math teacher would say. Oh, I hated that. I mean, he's right. I mean, this is something also you could, like a Socratic type of method, right? But sometimes I just want them to tell me the answer, you know what I mean? Instead of giving me information freely if they are unable to answer when tested, then the one who is superior in terms of knowledge should tell them. This is more effective in proving the point. You see that? We also learn from the contrast between the fathers of humanity and of the jinn, the superiority of Adam, the way in which Allah honored him, the enmity of Iblis towards him, and other lessons. Superiority of Adam, the fathers of humanity and jinn. Whew, it gets so scary when you think about them. It's scary. Well, family, We'll pause it there because the next section is going to deal with different verses and I don't want to end it and then leave us on a weird cliffhanger.